Hello, welcome to the CSR universe, and we have today our very special guest, Mr. Avadhesh Dixit, who is the CHRO of Equity Knowledge Partners. So welcome, Mr. Dixit.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Today we are going to talk about a very special book that Equity Knowledge Partner is going to launch, which is a coffee table book on all the kind of CSR activities that the organization has been engaged in. So we're going to talk about those activities covered in the book, the challenges that Equity Knowledge Partners has faced in finding those problems which needs to be solved, and the kind of success that it has achieved along with its implementation partners and different stakeholders in making it a successful initiative. So, first of all, Mr. Dixit, I would like to just ask you. Uh, you have done so many social projects over the years now. So, what is the criteria? And there are so many social problems. How do you choose which areas you need to intervene into?
First of all, thank you for inviting me for this discussion. I deeply appreciate it. So, see, in terms of your question, the kind of projects and how do we choose them, one criteria, of course, is that they should be aligned with a larger legal requirement and legal framework,
Right.
which the Companies Act, provides. But if you go beyond the legal framework, I think one of the most important things for us to look at whether some of those projects are aligned with our own core philosophy of where we want to focus on. And if you look at Equity Knowledge Partners and our CSR philosophy and our larger sustainability philosophy, we believe that we need to dig deeper into very selective subjects. And what we have decided within our company is that we are going to remain focused on education, employability, and environment. So, to begin with, apart from the statutory requirement, I think the second biggest criteria for us to look at how do you identify projects would be whether the projects are aligned with this entire framework that we've created. And beyond that, beyond this framework, I would say that there has to be alignment of purpose. There has to be alignment of our core values with some of the NGO partners that we work with. And so when you look at all the three aspects, that's how you reach to some kind of a conclusion. And then there is a very rigorous evaluation process by which various NGO partners and projects have to go through before we decide which one we want to choose and which one we want to take forward.
Right, great. So, out of those environment, education, and employment-related projects that your organization has been focusing on. So, what is one project that is very close to your heart, and can you please share a little more detail about that project? How did it means how the idea came and how it is, how specifically what are the specific inputs that you put over there, and what is the success that it is now getting?
See, every project is important for us, and I think every project is very close to my heart. But if you ask me, I want to pick up one project. I think there's one project that I would like to pick up is the one that where we are working with a company called HESCO or the NGO partner called HESCO. This is an NGO partner based in Uttarakhand. So this project that I'm talking about, this is adoption of villages. We have adopted 2 villages in Uttarakhand with our NGO partner. And what we're trying to do is that we are trying to do a very integrated, holistic development of these villages. And it is based on the concept that Mahatma Gandhi gave, which was how do you develop, in case you want to develop the communities, in case you want to develop the nation, it has to start with creating a self-sustaining unit at a village level. And I think that entire thought process that Mahatma Gandhi had inspired this project where we have adopted the village and we are making multiple interventions with respect to education, livelihood. How do you create opportunities for people where, the villagers where they're not only, we are not only trying to link the entire education employability with livelihood, but also look at the integrated sustainable development for the entire village. And that project is very important because we feel that we have been able to make a very material difference to the villages. And going forward, I think we would be looking at adopting more villages in that area and expand our network to not limit ourselves to 2 villages, maybe take it to a couple of more villages as we go forward.
Right. So, can you also please share a little detail about the educational projects that you have been doing at Equity Knowledge Park?
See, our core philosophy is that we should be looking at employability linked with education. Now, when I say employability linked with education, education on its own may not be serving the real purpose where we are a country with a lot of demographic dividend and skill building and employability becomes core of it. So the kind of projects that we are doing around, I would say, education and employability are all about empowering people, skilling them, training them, and making them more employable. And if I look at some of the projects, like example, we are doing a project with Muskan Dreams, one of our NGO partners, where we are enabling school students through a digital curriculum, through digital tools and technology, and making them, introducing a very different kind of pedagogy, which is very easy to understand, which is very interactive, very fun filled, and you use that pedagogy to introduce over and above what the government of India is trying to do. In this particular case, we are working with the government of UP, and we are working with government schools in UP, and we have introduced this entire new way of teaching using digital aids. So that's one project, and then there's another project where we are creating employability through education, where we are working in Rajasthan. We are educating farmers in terms of how do you increase the yield of the crop, and we are also trying to educate them through IIT Jodhpur. It is a joint venture between us, IIT Jodhpur, and the Arpan Seva NGO that we work with. So there are, I can go on and on, but those are some of the examples where we are trying to create employability through education.
Right. Thank you. So, sir, so many initiatives that your organization is taking now. India being the origin where CSR laws are in place, how do you think these initiatives of your company is having a perception, global perception about your organization in particular, and in general about companies in India who are rigorously following their CSR policies and making positive social interventions?
See, one thing we must commend the government of India and Ministry of Company Affairs. We happen to be one of the very unique nations where CSR is legal in nature. I think while I would say that a lot of corporates in India are doing much more than the legal requirement, including us, but that kind of a framework is very unique framework which exists globally, and the government of India and everyone else who has framed these laws, I think they deserve a big round of applause for doing that. Now, as far as we are concerned in terms of our global perception, we work with customers all over the world. Some of them are very big global names in financial services, and I must say that even all our customers are extremely focused on their community involvement, their sustainability journey, and they have a big focus on corporate social responsibility. So when they look at us and we driving CSR agenda not only in India but outside India, we committing to net zero as a company, I think they take a lot of pride in what we are doing apart from the core work that we deliver. So thank you, Mr. Dixit, for sharing so many insights about the social initiatives that your organization is taking. So before we wrap up this short interview, I just want to ask your advice to all the social sector stakeholders and especially the organizations who are spending their money on different social initiatives. So what is your message to those organizations? I think, first of all, thanks for having me here. And my core message to everyone involved in the social sector, whether they are corporates or other stakeholders like NGO partners and the government, is that I think the CSR has to be linked very closely with the business purpose. And especially if you are a corporate, it is extremely important that you look at your core competencies, look at your core value proposition, and try to link your CSR activities to that. That's one. Second is that rather than spreading thinly and doing too many projects, I guess you need to identify certain core areas. Like, for example, in our case, we have identified 3 areas as we spoke about, and then you get deeper into it rather than trying to spread yourself thinly and working with multiple partners. And ultimately, it all boils down to the kind of impact that you are trying to create working with your NGO partners and your selected areas. And then, as I said, align it with your strategic purpose as a company. Why do you exist, and how does sustainability and CSR places a bigger role in what you as a company are trying to achieve? Right.
Right. So thank you for sharing so many insights, and we wish you all the best for all the future initiatives, and especially on the launch of this coffee table book. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me on your show. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.